It's 4 o'clock on Wednesday. Let me get you caught up to speed. Last night, while shopping for luxury casual wear, a select group of academics and vindicated tattoo artists met right where Justin Tucker was coincidentally warming up to fight and toil and burn the midnight oil to concoct the best segment in all of sports media. It's an honor and a privilege. It's time for Nick's Tears.
Kevin Wiles, I got to tell you, I know
Yes.
I don't want to, no announcer's jinx here, but that intro plus the seamless poker analogy earlier, you're pitching a perfect game. Let's see if you can finish the last 29 minutes. All right, quick note on the committee. The committee's proud of itself.
Oh, wow.
The committee did not bow to pressure, to, looks across the aisle from other power rankings and tiers and wannabe tiers throughout the year. And they had faith in the championship pedigree of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Of course.
And so while everyone said they were biased or that there are too many Kansas Cityans on it, what they ended up being, for the 5th consecutive season, is rated by Sotheby's as the most accurate football ranking system.
Sotheby's?
Auction house, yeah, as well. Yeah, they do it. They do a lot of things. Now to the offseason optimism tiers. All 14 playoff teams ranked in terms of offseason optimism. At least we can pretend together. Cleveland and Pittsburgh. Listen, well coached. Both have Defensive Player of the Year candidates. Good defenses, nice skill position guys. But do not have the quarterback situation at all figured out. Don't have the resources to figure it out. And so if you're talking about a deep playoff run, you're really likely just pretending. What was the outliers here? That is the question surrounding the 2024 Philadelphia Eagles. Was the outlier this past season, or the bigger concern was the outlier the Super Bowl run? That, along with the looming question of, if Jason Kelce actually retires, is he the key to the tush push, which was the only thing we did all year that worked the whole year? So those things are looming questions for them. We can build on this. Both of these teams replaced legendary quarterbacks and got better. Both of these teams, much to the surprise of many, won a playoff game. Both of these teams spent this year cleaning up their cap to a degree and feel like we can build on our young players, our quarterbacks that we have, and move forward. Both of these teams, while the loss in the postseason hurt, because both of them looked like they could be in the conference championship game, they feel at this point like they had very successful seasons. Wake me in January. None of these teams can do anything next year. No one will care. The Miami Dolphins could score 90 points in a sunny 75-degree September day. No one will care. The Baltimore Ravens can beat 25 playoff teams by 25 points per game, never trail in the second half. No one will care. The Dallas Cowboys could go 15-2. Dak Prescott could win league MVP. No one will care. Fair or not, there is nothing any of these 3 select teams can do in next year's regular season to make you believe that their Januaries will go different until we finally see their Januaries go different. Media darlings, again, rinse and repeat, but this year with even more hype, certainly surrounding the Detroit Lions. And by the way, I don't blame them for it. But I wish I could bet on a bet. I would wager a lot of money that this exacta right here is a very popular Super Bowl pick come next August. Bills over Lions. What, Wiles?
You've crossed the Rubicon.
About gambling?
Whenever you're on TV saying, I wish I could bet on a bet.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm just telling you, I think what you're going to see Circus Sportsbook has a lot of futures out there on the Lions winning the NFC, and God knows, this will be the Bills' year. I'm sure it will be. Great youth, great cap, great vibes. Houston and the Rams. I love both of these teams. Both of these teams, while they're disappointed in how their playoff game ended, Houston obviously tied at halftime against Baltimore and then it fell apart. The Rams had plenty of opportunities to win that first playoff game and they weren't able to, against Detroit, weren't able to get there. But they also have very clean cap situations, have drafted incredibly well over the last couple of years, feel great about their quarterback situations, feel great about their coach situations, and feel great moving into the offseason. Thinking Dynasty or thinking Deja Vu. Here's what we mean. If you win, you have this roster for the most part locked up. If you win this weekend, you're also thinking, yeah, we probably should be the back-to-back champs. Why couldn't we have beaten this Chiefs team last year if Purdy doesn't get hurt? If you win, you have your quarterback for no money for the next couple of years, and you're thinking, that is how we build out a dynasty. If you lose, it is 2019 all over again. You are a favorite throughout the season. You have a great regular season. You have a stirring postseason. And then the bullies of the block beat you in the playoffs, that being, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs. And then, atop the tiers, imagine when they're actually good. The Chiefs. They won a Super Bowl in a rebuilding year last year. This year, they're down. They're vulnerable. They're not the same. Nick, everyone sees it. Why can't you? Imagine how good they'll be when they're actually good. If they're the back-to-back defending champions when they're rebuilding and bad. That is the offseason optimism tiers. Coach, you have been the committee's biggest critic. We've done 21 editions of this. You have been here for 11 of them. Tell me the one thing you haven't said yet. Those tiers were great. Let me hear it.
There's a lot of things that I thought you did well doing.
Thank you. All right, you know what? We'll take it.
And this was one of them. I think you did a very good job with this. I do think you're off on one team. I feel like Detroit should be with your great youth, great cap, and great vibes. And when you look at it, they've got the 7th most cap space, which is outstanding. They're the 4th youngest team. They've drafted extremely well. They've got an extra 3rd-round pick. They've got a quarterback on the roster in Hendon Hooker, who a lot of people thought could go in the 1st round, but got an injury, knee injury prior to the draft. So he fell in the draft, but now he's at a year. He's rehabbed. He can sit behind Goff another year. So he's a little bit of an outlier. Maybe he emerges this season. And they've got a brand. They've got a brand that's real, and that's going to appeal to a lot of free agencies and the free agents. And they're over the hump of being this franchise that couldn't win. Couple that with a little bit of playoff experience, they should be in that next
I like
group.
that.
So if we moved them up, that would leave just the Bills alone in the media darlings tier. You know what, Coach? You might have just earned yourself a committee invite. Don't keep our fingers crossed.
This is a big day.
I gotta run it past the others. Go ahead, bro.
The names were really good. San Francisco's interesting. If they win it, I agree with where they are. Maybe they'd be at the top. Because obviously they would feel like we can win it again. Purdy's still young. He's not making money. If they lose, though, we just saw a Super Bowl hangover. Hit late, but it hit with the Eagles. So that would be interesting. I also, like Coach, I think there's another team that should go in the great youth, great vibes line. I don't know about their cap situation, but Green Bay. I think Green Bay next year is going to be a contender.
Oh, wow.
Like, not just improve. Like, this is essentially where Detroit was last year, except Green Bay actually got in the playoffs.
And won a game.
Right, and so we know how good Jordan Love was. Look at his numbers over the second half of the season. He was one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And he played, he had the interceptions in the playoff game, but nobody's faulting him for that. The receiving core is young and really good. This was the youngest team to make the playoffs in about 50 years. So I think Green Bay, I really think they have a chance. They will be in that group of teams that has a chance to get to the Super Bowl.
Do you like their defense? Defense underrated.
Well, it got a little better. They're going to make some change. They got a new DC.
Winning argument from a
Got a
month
bunch
ago.
of #1 draft picks on that defense.
Right, and they got a bunch of young guys that are going to get better.
So I don't want to be struck down here because I am not wishing this into existence at all. But the 2 best free agents on the defensive side of the ball are both Kansas City Chiefs. In my opinion, Chris Jones and L'Jarius Sneed. Yep. If I were Green Bay, I would throw a bucket of money at Chris Jones. I don't know if the Chiefs aren't able to bring him back.
Keep Chris Jones.
I understand. I don't know that they're going to be able to keep them both. They might lose them both. I'm not sure.
If he wins back-to-back Super Bowls, he might want to go get paid.
Yeah, and so again, I love Chris Jones. I would love for him to come back. Snead has never made any money, so if the Chiefs don't pay him, I want Snead to get his money. He's had a very rough go of everything personally and everything. So, but those would be, if you're Green Bay. And you and I were thinking the same thing, Wilds. I do think the reason I don't have them up there is I don't trust the defense, and I don't think they have necessarily the personnel. Their best defensive player, Jair Alexander, seems to maybe be on his way out of there after coin toss gate and everything that went on there. So I like Love, but I question.
They did slow down Mahomes.
Jesus, man.
They did.
You know what I realized about that? That game. You watched that game on Bill Simmons' 90-inch television, which is
the late game.
It was the late game? I was going to say that's why it's stuck in your brain so much, because you were there doing half-baked
I watched
ideas.
every Packers
whatever
game.
other half-baked
every
things
Packers
you and
game
Simmons
this year.
were doing.
I go and watch all 22.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to move up the Eagles. We know what the issue was with the Eagles. They got a little bit of disease of more, right? Offense coordinators both get head coaching jobs. Then Nick Sirianni's there like, I'm just going to talk trash with two brand new coordinators. Turns out it doesn't work. So he tries to make a move in the middle of the season with Matt Patricia. That doesn't work. So offense went from third best in points to eighth best. Defense went from eighth fewest points, second to worst. So now you go and get Vic Fangio, who I think
I think great hire.
Sure thing, right?
Hire.
And then Kellen Moore, who was like, the
That's
hot
a great
shot.
hire too.
So all of a sudden, Sirianni, who I know you're no fan of, has two great experienced coordinators to team up with Jalen Hurts. I think it works. With the caveat, are we worried about too much of a bumpy road for Jalen, where it's like, this is my third coordinator in 3 years?
No, I'm not worried about that. And I do think that we need to remind ourselves when we're doing any preseason stuff about coordinator changes. I think one of the reasons Kansas City's offense struggled early was losing the coordinator. Philly's part of it as well. I think that is an underrated as good.
But that's one example where the defense was so bad that you'd like to see it jump from what.
Yeah,
No,
Like it's not like you're taking over the number one ranked defense because the guy got a head coaching job and
No, and it'll be really interesting to see between Fangio and Kellen Moore which one of them gets to be the interim head coach for the Eagles. I'm excited. I don't know. Fangio's been a head coach, Kellen Moore head coach in waiting. One of them will get to be that.
So I bet it's not Kellen Moore. He already had the shot with Staley. Didn't get it.
Yeah. That was it wasn't real analysis there. It was a shot I was saying Sirianni's going to be fired.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm just.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.